Americans Got Talent has dance crew going. That's little by little. I feel like there's been platforms where dance has been super marketable to the general audience. That's why when you think, I ask a random person, be like, so they're like, yeah, I dance. Oh, so you do the Jabberwockies thing?
You do the
Jabberwockies.
That's a little cringy. It's still great to like, it's being recognized.
It's being recognized.
That there's still music videos.
Yes,
people
there's
think
music
like,
videos.
oh, Janet Jackson, Britney Spears, like Usher, and then like there's that entire there's a whole market that people are fed, and it's kind of like, oh, they don't even realize like, ooh, I could be like that person off of like
even K-pop.
Yeah, even
because
K-pop.
now it became so international that having that dance routine in a K-pop has made everyone want to start dancing now, and TikTok even made it bigger.
Yeah, but that's the thing though. Like,
but that's where
there is the marketable end, but where's the
that's a whole different
profitable
conversation.
end for the individual? Because we can go in America's Got Talent, America's Best Talent, or even America's Great Dance Crew.
Pretty okay.
Well, I mean, I don't know the stories exactly of like their paid stipends weekly, but I'm pretty sure they're competing for money at the end, and so they're essentially working weeks on end for what? Same thing for for America's Got Talent or So You Think You Can Dance. You're working weeks on end with zero pay, but you get marketed, and then it's likely after the fact you get booked because I know you'll get to be on tours, but it's, I don't know, there's a very high upfront cost of zero for that whole thing versus like versus, not to knock on anyone's journey who's done that, assuming you're good, you get picked to be on certain teams and you have a contract, and then you compete for however long the contract is. But for this, for dance, like, you get booked for a music video. That's one gig probably done in a weekend. Or if you do, if you're on tour, like once the tour is done, you got to get back onto the next one. There's the lifespan is always like
short,
very short. Yeah. So like
one day sometimes.
One day, yeah. Sometimes it's one day.
Audition for a whole day to get a gig that is like taught and filmed in one day, and then you get that one paycheck, and then you have to find something else. It's like,
and that's why a lot of dancers have part-time.
Yeah, that's why like the question is, I'd say like going from Olympics and then going to like the comparison with esports is like, when the longevity game with dancing is very scarce right now. The question is, how do we make it less so? Yeah.
Well, I guess that's where the Olympics come.
I kind of agree and disagree, because I think another thing that's changing about just human beings in general is that we used to think that when you get to a certain age, you age out. But now, like, people are taking care of themselves a lot better. They feed themselves better. Like, I see videos of b-boys that like 47 are in their 60s, and like, and it's like the age used to be like, that was your time out. And now that we take care of ourselves better, like, who says that you can't have a career that's as long as however you live? Like, you have artists who are old, like J-Lo, like, Madonna, like these people who have been just doing this stuff for ages. And like, yes, they have, like, they started up, they like became famous, they got the money, and now like, but that's also like, okay, so if they're doing it at this age, then why can't I?
But the dancers that they're hiring in Madonna's music videos and in J-Lo's music videos, those dancers are not their age.
Yeah,
like,
they're very young. I will say that they are young.
They're not hiring dancers who look, as long as you look young. It depends on the industry we're talking about, right? Like with breaking, I'm sure that it's a little more open. Like, you can do this thing, you can do the thing. That's all good. But like for the commercial dance industry, especially, like, and especially for women in the commercial dance industry, it's like, you have to look like you're 20. And if you don't look like you're 20, like if you look like you're 28, like, sorry, honey. Like, that's why there's so much Botox. And so that's a whole nother topic. But like, there's so much push for people to get like plastic surgery in the industry, because you have to look in your early 20s, and or else you're not going to get hired.
I think it's also important to differentiate from having a career in dance versus competing in dance too. Because I think I'm going to be honest, those are two completely different avenues, and it's a hard pill to swallow because I wish I could do both, but the reality is you have to pick and choose
one of them
because they're just two completely different avenues. Do you wish to dedicate your whole life to this specific style of dance or just to dance in general to compete and then win based on competition and maybe a gig here and there? Or do a career in dance where, you won't be able to be the creative that you want to be, but you're able to, put food on the table at least, and have a more stable, well, it's still going to be gig based, but it's more stable versus being competition because there's so many factors that can ruin a day. You get wounded or injured during break competition, that's your money, bye-bye. Versus you can kind of fake it to make it in a industry gig, depending on what the gig is, of course.
Yeah, like I'd say the closest to something stable is like getting to work at a Vegas residency. You for sure get money, but it's doing the same thing for 180 shows, 200 shows for every single day. So that's sort of the sacrifice is you're not as creative, but you sure is getting paid for what to do. When I was touring, the company I was with, we did the same routine when we were touring for 4 years.
Do it right now.
There was a point where I was just like, man, this is like we're doing it. Like I got like complacent. Like we're just gonna do the same thing anyways. So there is a trade off on your creativity versus the check.
Right.
So
The money's in teaching, honestly. That's where it is. Like if and that's the longevity. I think is like you can teach forever. And that's where the real like money is in teaching for my style and genre that I think for any of them.
Yeah.
Once you've had those like big name things on your resume, then you can be a master teacher.
Oh god.
And
Don't
teach
get me started
master
with
classes.
with 18-year-olds doing master classes. The whole thing of just like because having a resume and then I agree teaching is probably like the best way to be creative and get paid for it because like a lot of the people we see on Instagram are amazing choreographers or battlers that can also teach because people are hungry for that knowledge and the access to you is the most scarce resource so you can capitalize on that.
We should have a watch party.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
That'd be fun.
TT versus the Olympics.
Wait, are we calling them too?
I don't know.
I would still love to have a regular person try to do the thing that an Olympian can do. Because the common thing throughout all the sports in the
How hard can it be?
how hard can it be?
Yeah.
I can do that.
Okay.
Hold my beer.
Okay. So,
Oh,
when it comes to like dance, like competition type things, like battles or like stuff like So You Think You Can Dance or whatever, as someone that wasn't a dancer for like 15 years and like and I have a mother that thinks she can do anything. So like every time she watches So You Think You Can Dance and she's like literally sitting there, she's like, that's not clean enough. And I'm like, you try. And that's the thing. Cause like, public perception of dance will always be dance for me, monkey. And so like, that's why it took so long for breaking to be in the Olympics, but also when you mentioned like, HHI type competition style, like going into the Olympics makes sense to us, but I don't think it'll make sense to the public. Because again, they look at it as entertainment. They don't look at it as a sport or anything that can be really judged. It is a sport. They don't look at it that way. They see dance as entertainment and that's it.
I think go ahead.
A sport by definition is anything that has to do with physical activity that is competed and can be entertaining.
I agree. The general public does not